Hey everybody, welcome to Drive Thru Review 369, and today we're going to talk about Pictomania. This is a game that is recently hitting the United States from Stronghold Games, and it was originally published in Europe, and the designer is Vlada Chvátil, who, if you don't know, he has designed Through the Ages, Mage Knight, what else? Space Alert, Galaxy Trucker, Dungeon Lords, and a couple other games. So most of those are super heavy, Euro games. This is basically gamer Pictionary. So let's just jump right there and we'll go into how the game works, and I'll come back and tell you more what I think. Now, I don't normally do this, but let's go ahead and take a look at the insert, which is very nice, and it's also a good idea because of just the type of game that it is. So you can see here, we've got the insert. We have here player boards, so each player is going to get a board in their color, and they're going to be able to draw things on these boards, and then you can see the game is actually going to take place over 5 rounds, so you can have a spot here to record your score there. And each player is also going to get a little eraser, and this will erase whatever they've drawn, and of course everybody will get a little marker, and these can be used to draw with, so that's great. And then there's also going to be these 2 trays. I'll explain these a little bit more in detail, but you see they have these stickers here, which is going to come into gameplay. These trays are going to be used to hold these cards here. Now I've got 4 types of cards, and these are different difficulty levels. So here we have the easy things, and so of course, like a Pictionary game, you're going to be drawing various things, and all of us are going to be drawing at the same time, which is interesting. So you can get cherry, watermelons. You can see these are all different fruits. There's also a double-sided. Here you've got kneel, crouch, lie, different positions the body could be in. Space shuttle, train. So these are the easy ones. These are the green ones. And then we have here, I think here are the blue ones. Yes, this is kind of like your medium ones. Oh, look at this. Here we go. Galaxy Trucker, Dungeon Lord, Space Alert, Shipyard, Dungeon Pets, Last Will, 20th Century. And these are all CGE games, and high jump, long jump, sunbathe, float, a little bit more tricky ones, a little bit more abstract ones there. And then we've got sort of a more harder type of ones here. These are the red cards, peanut butter, marmalade, so on. So as you play the game, you can kind of graduate up into what I call the impossible level. So this one isn't too bad. Secret Agent, Private Eye, but then they've got some weird ones here. Let's find a weird one. Adverb. It, she, they, you, Abel, Judas. So you got to be a little bit more creative here in filling these out. And then everybody's going to get a little set of cards here, and you're going to use these to vote during the game. And these are each going to come in each player's color there. And then you get these scoring markers, and these of course are going to be in the various players' colors. And then we've got a couple of cards here. These are sort of to help randomly determine a setup for the round, and then also some other bonus point markers. So let's set up and I'll explain how the game works. Now here I've got a setup for 2 players. The game plays 3 to 6, but it's going to be tricky to show you 3 players at once. So again, each player is going to get a player board in their color, some scoring tokens, some voting cards. And we're going to play over 5 rounds. And of course, the objective of the game is to get the most points. Now each round, we're going to shuffle up these cards here. You can see we have different numbers going 1 through 7. And then we have these cards here, which are various symbols matching what's on the trays there. So we're going to shuffle up each of these 2 decks and give each player 1 card out of them secretly. So let's say the blue player gets the squiggly lines with the 4, and the orange player gets the little square here with the number 2. We're going to take the rest of these, or deal them out to the other players, and then set any leftovers aside. And every round we're going to randomly deal out cards here from our selected difficulty. Here we've got easy, and again they're double-sided, so you can reuse them for 2 rounds. So each player is going to look at the cards that they're dealt and then figure out what they're supposed to be drawing. So in the blue player's case, he's got squiggly lines 4. So here is the squiggly lines, and then they will look at the card, of course, without actually grabbing it, and see number 4. So, okay, I need to be drawing a rubber raft. And then the orange player is going to look here with the square 2, and then we're going to take a look at that, and that is going to be a hinge, okay? And then everybody's going to say, okay, I'm ready, and then you're going to start drawing. So this guy's drawing a raft, and I'm going to draw it horrible because I'm just trying to explain it. So you've got the raft there, and maybe some water underneath, and that kind of stuff. And then the yellow player here, what was he drawing? The square 2, that was a hinge. Okay, so we could draw a little door here. And we could do that and draw these little things there. So these would be the little hinges there. And you can draw arrows and point to parts of the door, parts of whatever you're drawing. You can't do letters and numbers. And there's a couple other different rules of things that you can and can't do when you draw, basic Pictionary types of things. And then as people are drawing, you are looking at what they are drawing. So blue's looking over at orange, orange is looking at blue, anybody else up on the table. And each player, as I said, has voting cards. And these are just the numbers. So you just have to pick which number the person is drawing. So it's feasible if I'm the blue player and I look over at orange, and orange is drawing a hinge, but I think magically for some reason they're drawing a merry-go-round, and then I throw down a 2 in front of their board. I'll go ahead and put it in front of them at the bottom of the pile. So if I somehow guess wrong, but I still get the right number, which I frankly have never seen happen, you could still get points for it. So you're gonna guess there, and then everybody's going around, and then so now the orange player, he may looks at somebody else, says, oh, you've got a 4, you know, or whatever, and then somebody else says 2 to somebody else. Now you do know that nobody else is drawing on your card, and nobody else has your number as well. So that's one thing to keep in mind. And you have all of the options presented to you, so unlike Pictionary, you're not just kind of guessing randomly or based on a category. You do have a finite number of answers, so even if they're not completely finished with the drawing, you can still maybe get an early guess in, because if you get a guess in before somebody else as the cards sort of stack up, then you're going to get more points possibly. So you just do that, and then as players are guessing and finishing drawing, they can take a tile here from the center. Now each of the stacks of point tiles is going to vary number of players, so there may be more or less of these in the center. So you're going to grab this, and this is either going to give you bonus points or possibly negative points at the end of the round. So you grab that, and once you grab one of these center tiles here, you can no longer keep drawing. So once the last one has been grabbed, then everybody's going to stop, and then we're going to reveal, of course, that everybody's drawing and reveal what everybody has voted. So let's just take this randomly. Let's say this is in front of somebody else. We flip it over so that we know the blue player had the first guess, followed by the orange player. So what's going to happen when you get a guess right is you're going to take the top tile from their score pile. So if orange was the first player to get something right here for blue, they're going to take that top tile and they're going to award them 3 points. Now, correspondingly, what's going to happen is actually reduces the number of negative points that blue's going to get. So if blue has any of these stars left here at the end of the round, these are going to count against blue. So blue needs to spend as much time drawing and making it as accurate as they can as guessing other folks. That's a very, very interesting balance. Now, what if you had guessed somebody else's and you had guessed wrong? Well, what you're going to do is take your card and then put it in the center of the table. So if you had guessed wrong twice and you were the orange player, these 2 cards would be in the center of the table. And then after we've gone through and awarded points from everybody's stack and see, you know, who got what right, whoever has the most cards in the center, had the most incorrect guesses, is going to lose points equal to the number of stars here on these black tiles that they grab from the center. Now, if you aren't the person with the most cards in the center, or if there's a tie, then you will get points equal to the stars on the tile there if somebody, at least one person, has guessed your drawing right. And the game does also come with a child variant. So you just grab one of these racks and then you only put out one actual card there on the rack, and instead of dealing out the symbol cards, you deal out the number cards instead, and then you just, you know, you're only guessing from these, so the number of options isn't quite as overwhelming as it could be. But that's basically the game. You're going to record your score again on these 5 little boxes. You play 5 rounds, whoever has the most points is the winner. Okay, so what do I think of the game? Well, I love the game. It's awesome. How do I explain it? It's a very interesting dynamic to be drawing something and then at the same time trying to be guessing something. Now you can go around, and I've done this, where I don't even bother drawing because I look at the thing and it's too hard. You know, we're playing one of the harder decks of cards and I'm like, I have no idea how to draw this thing. It's impossible. So unlike Pictionary, where I would be sitting up there in front of everybody trying to draw something and just go on, I don't know, I can't figure it out, you know, blah, 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 pass, you go. I can spend the round guessing. Now I'm going to get hurt in the points because you know, I'm going to get the negative points because nobody's going to be able to guess mine because I don't have anything on the paper or on the pad. But it's pretty cool. You can kind of push your luck a little bit, or you can just kind of draw a little bit of something, you know, because they are sort of categorized, and you can kind of gauge between how much you get done in your drawing before you start looking at other people. So that's a very, I don't know, it's a very unique thing to this game that I don't see in other games, and definitely other like Pictionary style games. The other thing that I really like about the game is its scales. Like I mentioned there's a sort of a child variant or children's variant, and that's nice because like I said, it condenses the options that are available, so it's not very overwhelming. And even for adults, I've played this with my gamer group, and you know, when the first few times you play it, it's like, whoa, you know, there's a lot going on here. But then you kind of get used to it, and the cool thing is you can kind of scale it up and improve and improve and improve and get better, and then add, you know, the more difficult cards and play kind of with the same group over and over, and everybody gets, you know, used to each other, and everybody gets a little bit better at drawing and, you know, figuring out little shortcuts and things. So that's cool. That's awesome that you can sort of improve on it, and it's sort of built to scale that way. I don't really have a whole lot else to say about it. It's very fun. It plays very quick, definitely half an hour or less once everybody's kind of gets the hang of the scoring and things. It's only 5 rounds. The scoring doesn't really matter. I mean, of course, it's just a Pictionary thing, but it does work in a sort of a gamer sense where, you know, you can strategize, like I said, bouncing between, you know, drawing or guessing, and that whole dynamic there. And then there's also, I should have said, I think I said you take one of those black tiles from the center. You don't actually have to take those, so if you're not very confident in your drawing, you can do that. But it's also an interesting way to sort of put pressure on people if there's that last one sitting out there and people are really trying to say, is that a couch or a chair or whatever, right? And so, and then you can just take that last tile in the center, and that kind of kills off the round. So anyway, I recommend it. You know, I'll probably recommend this for just about anybody, possibly. And to me, it's somewhat hilarious. I don't really know why it's hilarious, but somehow it is. And it's hilarious to everybody I've talked to about it, that this is the designer of Through the Ages and Pictomania and Mage Knight. And he's also got something called Bunny Bunny Moose Moose. And he's also got Dungeon Lords and Space Alert. So, wow. You know, what a factory. Anyway, so that is Pictomania, and definitely take a look at it. I do recommend people at least give it a try, if not just go out and pick it up. So, thanks. Bye.